All right, let us begin. Click, click, click. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Lake Fuschl. In behind me here, let's just turn this around. It's a very clear water lake, as you can see. It's so clean that you could drink out of it. There's fresh fish in here, and there's some restaurants along the lake that sells daily caught fish here, and no motorboats allowed on the lake. And so lots of swimmers, lots of triathletes. Red Bull is basically just up the hill, just up there is Red Bull global headquarters, and that's why Koof is here. Ulrich Grill is the founder of Koof as well as Zoom Productions, and he was one of Red Bull's first athletes. He was a professional paraglider, and so that's why he's down here, and that's why I'm here right now. I'm here. This is my Koof photographer's jacket, and I'm here to do some videos with him, but as well as to do some product development, make a V2 of my strap, maybe even make one of these hats. Let me know if you guys are interested. People do ask me about making hats, but I don't want to make them myself, and it'd be cool to collaborate with a brand like Coop. But I made my way down here to the lake. I actually did, this is vlog 2, but vlog 1 while I'm here was actually shot today back at the hotel, and now I thought I would come here to the lake and make a second part because I had so many ideas about the idea of technology, about machine versus human, about AI, and I wanted to keep on talking about it because it's something that's really interesting. And I think for a lot of us photographers, videographers, artists, musicians, AI scares, a lot of people are scared about AI. I personally don't care. I'm neutral either way. It will definitely take a lot of jobs away that is somewhat mundane, if I can call it that, and other stuff that is just derivative and just kind of boring stuff. And so let's kind of go into it a little bit. This is the private beach waterfront of Hotel Jakob. They have this, like the hotel is just about 2 blocks up, but down here is right on the lake, and you need to be a guest of the hotel to come down here. And obviously it's kind of colder now, but I'm sure in the summer this whole place would be just busy with guests, as well as have free paddle boards over here. You can see the paddle boards over here, and this is the beautiful dock that they have. And so anyways, let's talk about machines, humans, and AI. And I want to first talk about my wife's job in telecommunications. A little story that, like many big corporations, they're moving customer service offshore. They're moving it to places like the Philippines, India, Guatemala, anywhere where, people can speak English. And a lot of these jobs are being moved there. But I think a lot of people that work in these countries, of course, they are taking advantage of the fact that they're getting good jobs for their country, good pay. But what they're doing is they're basically training AI, because eventually their jobs are like they are the model training AI on their jobs, and eventually their jobs will all be gone. AI will take over, and so these kind of customer service jobs, they're pretty much, other than like the entry level kind of when you first call into a telecommunications company and you're like, hey, my bill is wrong, I need to. I mean, I think you could already start seeing the automation in these kind of things, and I think that's a good thing. Things that humans don't want to do, or they're not like jobs that are that fulfilling. AI will take over, just like any kind of machine took over things that were done by hand, that it wasn't like a craft, like someone making a guitar, like a luthier, or someone making some kind of precise mechanics, or it's assisting someone who does those things to make their jobs easier. And so that, to me, has a connection to photography, in that there's different types of photography, there's different type of music that is that can be automated, right? So auto, as we talked about in my other video, autofocus, auto exposure, auto white balance, it makes things easier. And some of us who have more precise needs want to manually focus, or we want to manually focus because we just enjoy doing it. As other people, same with white balance. Sometimes you want to shift white balance. You don't want to get exact reality, and having auto white balance doesn't work out. But these tools are there for us to use to help us tell stories, to help us to create content that is true to ourselves, true to the artist. But there's also a lot of work that's derivative. There's a lot of work that people do for brands that are following trends on TikTok and Instagram Reels, and they're just derivative of what other people are already doing. And that kind of derivative work, it's going to be replaced by AI probably because it's so easy. I mean, the fact that you are looking at a trend and just kind of copying it, you already are like a human AI anyways, right? You are already like, you yourself are an autopilot and just copying what other people are doing and changing it slightly to your own style. And so that type of work is not really that artistic. It's derivative. And that has always existed, right? Even back in the days of music, when one band came out with a certain style, then all of a sudden all these other kind of, there's cover bands and there's other bands that just sort of, hey, grunge is in now, so let's just copy grunge. And that happens in all art forms, including photography. Now, there is derivative. You can also iterate, meaning you would have your own style, but you find something that like, wow, that's kind of cool. How can I integrate that style into what I'm already doing and make it my own? And so what is plagiarism? What is iterating on what someone else is already doing? That's another kind of a philosophical subject. I actually studied it at university when it came to creative writing. Like when you plagiarize someone else's work by pretty much copying word for word or kind of summarizing what someone else has said and pretend it's your own idea versus reading someone else's idea and others, ingesting it, blending it with your existing worldview and your existing ideas of what you think, and then you accept it as your own idea. Now you're iterating and sort of evolving another person's idea into your own ecosystem, and then it becomes your idea. And there's a nuance to this kind of thing, right? It's not that black and white. And so photography is the same, or any kind of art form of iterating, organically finding ways of evolving your work to follow whatever is happening. So for me, my photography was different before Instagram, before YouTube, before social media, but it hasn't changed the core of why I take pictures and how I take pictures. And certain tools are offered to me that help make, like right now I'm using the Action 4 by DJI because it makes things a lot easier for me. I'm not shooting this on Super 8, right? And so I love film and I love film photography, but I'm not a videographer. Although I make video content, it's just a tool that I use to try to tell stories, but as well as to explain my worldview as a creative, and hopefully it can help people out there. And so what I want to do is basically encourage people to not be too scared of AI. And if your job is at risk, I don't think there's a lot you can do. I usually say the top 1% will survive any kind of a technological shift or even like a cultural shift. The majority of people will have to then adjust themselves, right? So maybe you're into, like, for instance, right now, EVs, right? I don't think EV will take over regular cars or vehicles overnight, but that is where the future is leaning. There are going to be certain segments of vehicles that can't use EVs, but I think the majority of technology is moving that way. And same with photography and video creation. There's certain things, like I mentioned in my other video, like catalog work. At the high end, like say an Apple product launch, they're going to be using a mixture of AI, human direction, human ideas, and then blending it all together and make something really creative and really cool. And it's like the 1%. Right? The rest of us, if you're a small brand and you're selling something like socks, you don't have the budget to, and if AI at that time for product photography exists, you drop your socks into a white box with a camera, it does a 3D scan of all your products, and then it starts to create products. And maybe you still need like a creative director that understands how things should look. But overall, I think a lot of technology is going to move in that direction of AI. And so for someone like me, it's not going to affect me because I am a visual storyteller. That's what I teach at BCIT. And it's all about my story. So imagine this whole vlog was just AI. You wouldn't buy it because a machine did it, right? You know that all of it was just made up. You want something real. And what Simon Sinek had mentioned that I talked about in the last vlog, that he said, as the value of machine produced things go down because it's being mass produced. Anything that's human made, the value will start going up. And I think as we move in the future, things like film photography or photography that are made by humans, meaning everything from, like using old lenses. And I think that's one sort of example of how, as lens design started being like computers are designing lenses. Now they're using molded aspheric, so they're basically glass, plastic is being poured into a mold, and so every aspheric element is identical to the next one. So when a brand makes 1,000 of a certain lens, they all look identical and they're boring. Or you get older lenses, most of it was handmade, hand polished, and there's imperfections that a lot of us call character, right? One of my favorite lenses is a 21 millimeter super angulon. The Leica glass actually was made by Schneider. It has so many imperfections, but I love that lens because there's so much character. Where everybody else that's using the same lens, the same body, everything looks the same. So now people are adding, they're adding things to images to make it look unique to themselves. And I think that is the problem with technologies, that it's making everything vanilla, right? Everything is identical to everyone else, and because of it, there's no variety. And in humans, there's variety. There's imperfections, that, if you can call it imperfection, like, look at these mountains, right? These mountains. I mean, they're not all just squares and triangles and circles. There's variety in all this, even in the wave patterns, right? There's variety. Even in wood, there's different knots here and there. Nothing in nature is perfect. And when you see things that are perfect, humans have touched it, right? Things like the pyramids, someone built it. And that in itself is not a bad thing. But what I'm saying is, as a creative, we want our own stamp to things, our own look, our own style. And for that to happen, a human has to touch it. And so, again, going back to the idea of AI, I'm not worried. AI is great as a tool that you give it lots of input and then it predicts how things should be done. But any kind of innovation, any kind of change, and I use music as an example of, like, when the Beastie Boys first came out, could AI have read the preceding rappers, like, Run DMC, Grandmaster Flash, and Furious 5? Could AI have predicted the rise of Beastie Boys? No, there's no way, right? It's innovation. It took a human so the Beastie Boys did listen to Run DMC. They did listen to Grandmaster Flash and Furious 5, but they also listened to punk. They also read different types of literature. They were into pop culture. And all those human things, their personalities, found its way into their music and made something original and unique, and people connected with it. And then the grunge movement came, and same things, a whole group of young kids that grew up listening to the Beatles, that grew up listening to Black Sabbath, that grew up listening to, Def Leppard and all that stuff. And it all came together and, invented a new style of music. And then there was other bands that came and just, were derivative, that just listened to these things and kind of copied their work, but nobody remembers them. Right? It filled the niche. The masses may have liked some of it for a certain time, but the authentic stuff, the stuff like Pearl Jam and Beastie Boys and Nirvana, and and I'm talking about music here, but any kind of art form, when there's that humanness to it and that quality, and you know, it's just beautiful. From music to photography to graphic design to literature to movies, all these things, sure, AI can do some of it, but it's not going to take over. True art comes from humans. True art comes from storytelling. True art comes from the human experience, and that specific human working with other humans, bringing their own qualities to it, is what creates great work. And so I'm not saying that's my final thoughts. I'm constantly thinking still about technology and AI, and how that's why, I shoot with Leica mostly, because I don't care that your brand X has faster autofocus, better white balance, better image stabilization. Like, that's just all tech. That's all mechanics. That's all like the machine part of photography. But the image might be just boring. So nobody cares about that. Versus a picture that, there's a humanness to it. I'm focused on telling stories. I'm focused on trying to project my worldview, the way I see the world, the way I want to tell the audience, to you, and to myself, how I want to see things and how I see the world. That's what I'm working on. And all these other technical things, they come and go. But in the end, true storytelling stays around. So that's why pictures from the 1920s and 30s and 40s and 50s, all these generations of photographers, it didn't matter what they used, right? We don't think about Henri Cartier-Bresson. Of course, he was a Leica shooter. And that's important because technology can shape how we see things, right? Obviously. But if that becomes the one and only thing, then you are tied to the technology. And so I think today photographers are way too concerned with technology, way overly concerned with ISO performance, autofocus. And I said in my other video, like with new cameras today, you could shoot at night to make it look like the day and shoot during the day and make it look like the night. Who cares? That's gross. I don't want that. I want to shoot at night and experience that and then be able to share that with you and artistry and craft and all those other things involved. I don't want the camera to do everything. That's not fun for me. I don't want to do it personally because to me, it's about the journey and not just the destination. And that goes for a lot of things. I want to be able to do things and enjoy doing it. The end result is just a byproduct of me having a good time and being able to share things. And so I care about how I take the photo and how a photo makes me feel, right? A technically perfect photo could still be sterile, right? Even though it's technically perfect. We're not looking for technically perfect images. We're looking at something that will move us emotionally. So, you know, a photo, a selfie, something that triggers my memory, something that happened, and I tell you that story. Hopefully you can feel that. I know I'm gonna feel that because I took the photo and I'm gonna enjoy it. And I don't care about, you know, the optical quality and all those things. As long as it takes a photo and I'm happy with it, then I'm happy with it. And hopefully you'll be happy with it. So let me know down below if you want to add anything else. I'm gonna move on to another subject for tomorrow. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Hopefully it'll be something that interests you. And if you like this series, don't forget to like, don't forget to follow, and give me some suggestions down below if you have any questions. There's a lot of other things I've been thinking about and wanting to work on. And so we'll keep on shooting these videos. Let's just turn this on here. All right, happy shooting. Click, click, click. Peace.